Before we start and before we get into it, I do have one thing I want to do. It's a quick rant. So AD, I'm going to put you just a little bit lesser here on my thing. All right, just for a few moments. Just for a few moments. All right. So I want to address a couple of things. Right. One thing about Marvel shows in general is that they're pretty general. They're pretty vanilla. And there's not a whole lot of political theater or discussions about, controversial topics. And this particular episode had one particular controversial topic, and it had to do with Loki being bisexual. And that's the elephant in the room. That's what everyone discussed this week on all the different channels. The reason I want to rant about it is not that I want to, harp on the theme or the fact that he was bisexual. I just want to say that, representation matters. And so seeing someone of your same orientation, whether it's the same skin color, whether it's the same complexion, whether it's the same ethnicity, those things matter. And so for it to be a huge topic of discussion sort of tells me where the state of the world is today, and it is not very accepting. And so the only reason I want to rant about this is that, again, I saw a couple of videos either kind of making fun of it, called him Loki, or said that he's woke now and that type of thing. And the reason that I wanted to talk about it just really, really quick is that it's pretty much a one-liner in the show. It wasn't sort of the crux of the episode, or it wasn't what everything was about. It was just a line in the show that sort of clearly put it into canon that this was Loki's sexual orientation. And so, to me, whatever your orientation is your deal, your business. But to say that this show is pushing an agenda, or the show is trying to harp on these types of themes, is something that's a bit unfair. And so, again, I just wanted to say that, because we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this particular topic, but it is important that we discuss it and bring it up. And then the only other point I want to make is the same thing happened to In the Heights, where it is a culturally diverse movie, but it did have some missing elements which some people didn't feel represented, and that's fine. But to make it sort of the entire controversy of the movie is what took away from it, and people didn't support it, and the movie was not necessarily did not exceed the expectations. So anyway, I'll bring you in, AD, if you got any thoughts on that. I just wanted to do a quick rant on that.
I mean, my only thought, what you said was correct, that representation matters. I mean, especially like for people of us, like us, people of color, like if we see somebody that looks like us doing something that we're interested in, it just pushes us to want to do that more. And another thing is, I feel like in that time, like especially like Viking scenario, or like even the Romans, I felt like the men were fluid back in the day. They were a lot more fluid. So I don't think they did it to be woke. I just think they did it because that was a part of that time period. And it wouldn't be like, it wasn't frowned upon back then. You know what I mean? And if it was, I mean, people didn't care as much,
Right. And
there wasn't social media to like.
Right. And that's my point is that it really isn't. It really isn't a big deal in terms of the scale of the show. It was, if you blinked, you missed it. Like it was a dialogue piece that was them having a conversation, and it was even coded. It wasn't even like overt saying, "Oh, I am this." It was simply a question asked, and he answered it.
Yeah.
And so that was it. So that's what I'm saying. So for people to make it a big deal, to say, "Oh my God, this was." The show is this this machine that has an agenda. It was a little ridiculous to me, so I just felt it was important to sort of bring that up.
I wonder if it was like even like in Falcon and Winter Soldier, there was some backlash for like a black cap and like the storylines that they were talking about then. So I feel like it's just a thing. Like if people feel like it's too woke or they don't align with that, they're gonna say something. And I mean, it's just how it is now. Social media gives people the platform to to voice their opinions.
Right. And listen, I think everybody should have their opinion. They're entitled to it, and whether I agree with it or not, it's not necessarily for me to decide. But you're right. Falcon and Winter Soldier suffered the same fate. The funniest thing I saw about this was that you and I had talked about this episode, and the next couple of episodes were going to be like a lull, right?
Yeah.
And you have this one guy out there with the, I forgot which source he had. Loki loses 100,000 viewers in the next episode. I'm like, not that they lost viewers, they still got the money because you subscribe to their service, so they don't care if you watched it or not. I mean, or if you didn't watch it on the premiere day or the premiere night, you've got a week to watch it. So, I think those things are kind of ridiculous. So they're like reading into it, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's streaming. They're not expecting everybody to watch it on release date. I mean, this is something that's going to live on their platform for the rest of time now,
right,
or until the platform ends. So whenever you catch Loki, you'll catch it. But I don't think their main focus is, hey, we need them on Wednesday to watch it. You know what I mean? I think they just want you to watch it whenever.
Right, exactly. And they got you hooked. They've got the movies and everything, so you're going to come back to it. So that's the other part, is for those that are truly, hatred of these types of things, you can't stop the machine. It's too big. The movies are so popular that it transcends politics, and so people are going to watch them, and they're going to watch this show just because they need to find out what happens next, even if they don't agree with what they saw.
You're the one I keep as my prima my only you are the one for me.
Yeah, I tell her, baby, you're the one for me. Never two unless you telling me you feel it too.